daily, I am assured, Brian, there are good cops. There's a whole bunch of good cops and just a few bad apples. And yet every single day, multiple times a day, hundreds of times a day, people upload videos to demonstrate not only are there not good cops, but all the so-called good cops are never saying anything about the overtly bad cops, and they keep them on the force. I'm going to give you two examples. This chick right here stole $600,000 worth of workman's comp, pretending that she couldn't do the job, and yet she's out there doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And this guy right here had a rape charge against him, and the police chief for the Belmont Police Department was warned by other departments that this guy's not hireable. Not only does he have this rape charge against him, but he's not even a U.S. citizen. We're going to start with this one right here.
A former Westminster police officer has been charged with pretending to be disabled while dancing and drinking at a music festival, skiing, even running a 5K. Orange County reporter David Gonzalez live in Westminster on the felony charges she's now facing for the alleged workers' comp fraud. David?
Michelle, we reached out to the Westminster Police Department, but they had no comment. The Orange County District Attorney's Office calls her actions shameful, and they say the real victims are the taxpayers.
For a police officer to engage in that kind of behavior is absolutely disgusting.
Former Westminster police officer Nicole Brown faces serious prison time for allegedly stealing hundreds of thousands in fraudulent workers' compensation payments after telling her department she was unable to work due to an injury she suffered while on duty in March 2022.
Now, before we get to this injury right here, at least she wasn't out on the streets holding people at gunpoint and pulling the trigger, jeopardizing lives, shooting pets, and otherwise economically terrorizing people. At least we could say that, right?
Suffered a small abrasion to her head. She went to the emergency room that day. The doctor cleared her without any restrictions on duty. She took a couple days off after that and then told her department that she had been diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury by
She just looks so nice. She looks like a nice cop. She doesn't look like the type of person who would steal $600,000 from the localized tax cattle.
Doctor who put her on temporary disability.
The Orange County District Attorney's Office claims Brown collected more than $600,000 tax-free, including all medical bills.
She was engaged in an incredibly active lifestyle where she was running, skiing, going to Disneyland, doing all these things that she said she could not do while she was working as a police officer.
The DA's office launched an investigation after Brown was caught dancing and drinking at Stagecoach Country Music Festival.
People who knew that she was on full disability witnessed her behaving in a way that was not consistent with what she was telling her department.
Brown's stepfather, Peter Gregory Schumann, a licensed attorney practicing workers' compensation defense for insurance carriers, is charged with helping his stepdaughter orchestrate the fraud.
How do you collect $600,000 over the course of just 3 years?
He was representing her at some of the meetings with the department and her case manager, where he was describing what she was prohibited from doing.
Brown is now charged with 15 felonies, including making a fraudulent statement to obtain compensation and making fraudulent insurance benefit claims. Her stepfather is also charged with conspiring and soliciting someone in an unlawful act.
I wonder if the police union is going to step up and try to activate qualified immunity on this chick. It's really beyond me how anybody can collect $200,000 per year in disability.
And if convicted, Schumann faces 8 years behind bars. If found guilty, she faces up to 22 years in prison.
So a cop stealing from the American tax cattle. Imagine my shock. Now we turn our sights on this guy and this guy, the police chief who hired him.
New details about the Belmont police officer recently arrested for rape. It is not his first arrest. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. The I-Team has learned that the Belmont police officer arrested for rape last week had an arrest for domestic violence several years ago before he became an officer.
And that's raising questions whether he should have been hired at the Belmont PD in the first place.
ABC 7 News I-Team reporter Dan Noyes is here with an investigation you will see only on 7. Dan.
Well, Dan and Amma, I have new information on his previous arrest and his immigration status. I've confirmed Felipe Gomes is not not a U.S. citizen, but has a work permit, so he is allowed to serve as a police officer in this state under a recent law signed by Governor Gavin Newsom.
Not a U.S. citizen? Give that guy a badge and a gun and tell him he can serve and protect U.S. citizens.
Really exciting time for us. And
just 4 months ago, Belmont Police Chief Ken Stanquist presented his new recruits, including 35-year-old Felipe Carlo Gomes.
He was in the Brazilian Air Force, part of the Air Force Police. He was a full-time police soldier and left that position when he moved to the United States. He enjoys practicing jiu-jitsu and attending church when he's not working.
Last week, Redwood City Police arrested Gomes at the Belmont.
And we'll pretty much hire anybody with a pulse and a domestic violence record.
Police headquarters on Penal Code 261A1. Rape of someone who was incapable of giving legal consent due
Perfect candidate for the force.
to a mental disorder. Before he hired Gomes, the I-team has learned that Chief Stanquist received phone calls from the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office and East Palo Alto Police warning him that both agencies had rejected Gomes because of his domestic violence arrest in 2017.
So 2 corrupt police departments told the Belmont police chief that this guy is too corrupt for us, and the Belmont police chief said, "Here, hold my beer. We got a level of corruption in our department you ain't never seen before."
When a department head calls you and says something's wrong, take a closer look, or don't hire someone, you should take a closer look.
Court records show that Gomes and his wife were on vacation from their home in Brazil at this Ramada Inn in Kissimmee, Florida. The charging affidavit says they'd been married a year when Gomes spotted texts on his wife's cell phone from an ex-boyfriend and that he struck her repeatedly in the face and stomach.
That's perfect law enforcement material, isn't it? Domestic abuse, domestic violence, they're 40%, according to some reports, they're 40% more likely to be domestic abusers than the civilian population.
An officer wrote that he observed a large bruise that covered most of his wife's left cheek and scratches to her right cheek. The records say Gomes accused her of hitting and scratching him first, so the state attorney...
There you go, perfect officer. Victim blaming already.
Charged both of them with battery domestic violence before dropping the charges a month later.
I could hear what Gomes was saying during that encounter with his wife. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. You're interfering with my advances.
Belmont Chief Stanquist defended hiring Gomes, emailing me, past law enforcement contact that does not result in charges are not disqualifying in of itself under policies or applicable law.
In these special victim domestic violence cases, the charges are dropped. They're dropped because the victims have a change of heart. Any number of reasons.
Former San Francisco police commander and head of recruitment Rich Correa tells me the incident should be disqualifying, even though the case was dropped.
You don't want someone who, in a family setting, violence is a place they can escalate to.
That's kind of common sense, but police chiefs aren't known for engaging in that sort of thing.
Just the opposite. You want natural de-escalators.
Law enforcement sources also tell me
natural de-escalators. That's what we see in police departments everywhere. They just come on the scene and they just immediately calm things down, right?
Felipe Gomes is not a U.S. citizen. SB 960, sponsored by former state senator Nancy Skinner, allows immigrants to be officers if they have a green card, visa, or permanent residency. Gomes is here on a work permit.
You must be a person who's legally authorized to work, so you have that legal paperwork. And then in California, if this bill passes, you would be able to be a sworn officer.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill in September 2022. Rich Correa tells me a newly arrived immigrant has lots to learn about our system of justice and civil rights.
So you better make sure that you are hiring people that get the many nuances of the role of a police officer. There's no one else, as far as I know, in our entire society that carries a gun and has the authority to shoot you under certain circumstances.
Yeah, you got to get all the nuances of being a police officer. Rule number 1, you make it home safe at the end of your shift no matter what. Number 2, you've got qualified and official immunity, so you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. And number 3, you will be a revenue generator for the state. That's all you got to know. It doesn't matter if you're an American citizen or not.
Several other states have similar laws to ours, but in many cases, local police departments still require an officer to be a U.S. citizen. By the way, Gomes has been fired. I reached him here, and his wife in Brazil. Neither wanted to comment for the story. Redwood City Police are supposed to be sending the Gomes case to the San Mateo DA's office by this coming Friday. So we'll find out more at that point.
You'll follow up there. So in addition to some of these red flags, these warnings, you can be a police officer in this state and not be a U.S. citizen.
It was a surprise to me,
I didn't know
and I had no idea until I started to research the story, and that is the case.
That's interesting.
But it's interesting. Some states, though, that have the same rule, the local departments refuse to follow it, and they require their members to be citizens. So even though the state may have the law, the local departments sometimes don't follow.
Oh, did not know it.
So the Belmont police chief hired a criminal to have authority over the innocent. These 3 people, this police chief, the guy he hired, and this chick right here, prove once again that there are no good cops. If you like these videos, maybe you'll like some of my others. Check out my most popular playlist. There's a lot of videos on there that you probably haven't seen, but they're still very much in play today as they were the day that I made them. If you want to support the channel, the links are in the description below. You can support this channel for free by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, becoming a channel member, and grabbing a shirt. But more importantly, understand that your rights don't end where public fears begin. I will see you in the next video.